That's not needed, right? Okay, so we're on. This up here. I'm gonna call this budget workshop to order. Do the pledge of allegiance before we start, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For the record, this is the Town of Palm Beach Budget Workshop for the 2024 budget. Here present in the room are our accountant, Jim Pompo, Town Councilor Bill Light, Diane Carpenter, and Christmas, Renee Rotundo, Town Supervisor. We're missing one board member who said he was going to be a little bit late. Is he on his way in? Okay. And we have one. So first order of business for this budget workshop is going to be discussion of employee salaries, which means we will need to have a motion to go into executive session for that specific purpose.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
These does, Diana seconded, all those in favor? And opposed, motion carried, and I would so that if we have issues, etc., we can discuss them there. And Okay, would someone like to make a motion to come back into
Make
regular?
a motion to come back. Seconded.
Any seconds and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Let me just get that. What does that say over there? So it says you are.
You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself as the blue box.
Click on the up, on the
Right there.
main middle.
Yep,
Oh, no, we should.
there you go.
So. We need to say again, and just came back into regular session. And made a motion, James seconded it, you didn't realize the audio was off, but we're all back. Okay, so. Did you just send it to me?
Yep.
So just remember, this is a workshop. It's just because we're video recording it, we just need to work, you know, so they gotta ignore the fact that it's. But no swearing.
Town bell. My.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, especially where about that.
So how do we do this? We just typically just start at the top and work our way down for the funds.
You give the full price. How do you? Because we would go.
Free. I had it, what do you do with it?
Sectors.
No.
Why don't you, get, take copies and then I'm just gonna change this, I'm gonna get this up.
Nothing brought a copy.
You know how what the one page, the third page and like. You'd say what the new supervisors and the new bill contractual to all of that as well.
There was a copy of the budget here someplace.
This is my, I don't see yours in here.
I just emailed it.
We don't email up here, I'm screen, but not. I have my jacket on, so. There's an extra quarter.
It was email so old, that's from like September 24th. Scroll up.
Yeah, scroll way up.
Oh, yeah.
Backwards.
Oh, yeah.
It's a change, Mark.
Hey, did you see the 2020 budget that I had?
No, I had my own,
I definitely brought it.
but, I think. I
didn't leave it in the other
one I
room.
just,
It's like.
wait. I just had.
Yeah, paper you gave me.
I've got what you gave.
No, the one I just gave Ann that had the. Salary sheet on it is where I got the. Here.
My car I got from the last one.
Well, if you had.
Here.
You go through.
Here, can somebody?
Is that mine?
It was with my thing, so I don't think it was yours. but maybe it was. We have plenty of paper. So I wanna just, now what am I doing? Opening this.
It's extra.
Anybody's watching this. Gotta be very.
Clown show.
Yeah, I knew I was like watching.
Yeah, they're the one to make it right.
How interesting is this? Back up to them.
Participants.
What?
And what, I don't know if anybody's watching. So 73 participants.
Be the ones. that-
Your day tracing. Bill.
It's
That's your day tracing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's. We have the office.
Well, do you want to do that?
No, I wanna make sure.
Really?
Did I just do that?
He's got new.
Yes, he's got, he starts contract.
He's invited. He's got, I mean.
You know what? I sat my last.
Done in Heritage Shop. Thank you. You can go join it.
Is that got check marks and stuff over it? That's fine.
No, it's yours and part of mine. Look, aren't these your check marks? Let's see what Ann has over there. Cause I was writing on this at home today. To get. Sure. Yeah.
They can say these are.
Right on my phone.
Surprised to see Bob stay there. It's all the same. Yeah. Surprised Bob's still there mission. This is. I told him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know you make copies for all of us.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pay that. And now at least we. All right.
Back.
Oh,
Start here.
oh, I did take.
Here.
I gave him
This is there.
It's probably good to know that.
that. I think I did.
You put your notes on here.
I wrote on it.
So then you usually go.
So she knows
You should too. Please try.
It's funny.
Yours was.
That's.
No, actually, we'll be the old guys.
Salary.
We better pay attention.
That's not gonna happen. Our council.
What's that?
My opinion, multiply whatever we came up with.
I always give us the numbers.
And that's what.
Figure out what the bottom line is. And then we'll say, oh, crap. Do something. Yeah. All right, let's get moving. Okay.
Oh, cool, we got. Oh. All right.
On board personnel, we already addressed that. Justice personnel and personnel clerks, we addressed that.
Do we have to look at any of their equipment or any of that now?
You know, they never, I'm sorry, but I have the last 6 years of, like, they just never spend all of their money, but it's not a lot of money. It doesn't, they never spend it all. It's just the point.
I'm just thinking, would
There's nothing there.
contractual for all of them, we'll look at though.
We should look at contractual for each one, but if you want, I don't know if you want to do it.
If you don't have to worry town board, there's nothing. I thought that's what we're gonna do now. That's what we used to
Yeah,
do.
we go through the contractual line.
But on board, there is no contractual. Justice contractual, see that number 5 in your packet there. Nothing changed from last year, so 200 for supplies, 1,000 for travel and conferences, 1,200 for postage, and 300 for dues.
Now, aren't we moving postage out?
We can do that.
But we're gonna put it all in one line, so we should not lose it, but we should eliminate it from the contractual.
Right.
just to make it easier to track.
People list.
Okay. Um. So,
It's how much they have,
1,200.
1,200 for postage?
Yeah.
Oh,
so the justices have spent 616 of their $2,700.
Right.
Oh, it's not a big. Oh, you have it right up there, don't you? Yeah, so I don't know. Let's leave it. Or put it back to 2 or leave it.
But we gotta take out the postage, right?
I think that's all figured out, yeah, but it's not losing.
Yes.
Brings us to 1,500, obviously. What do you want to do?
Do you think that, I don't know what that 500. 600 went for, so.
They have office supplies 200.
And do 300 in travel. They just never spend it.
I don't know if they're doing conferences like they used to for court.
Most of their stuff is virtual now.
I think.
Yeah, so they don't really have a travel. They don't have a need to travel, but I.
You're on the supervisor.
If we're all good with justice contractual. But
That's fine. I don't think they're gonna use it, but we'll see where we're at the end, so it's not. Really fun now.
so the supervisor put in for a new laptop. For
Yeah.
$1,000.
I think that a new supervisor is not going to want this one. It's starting to go very slow. So it's used when I got it anyway, so it's done. So I put $1,000 in towards the laptop. That was Dan Bender's recommendation.
You think $1,000 is gonna cover it? Computers are pretty expensive these days.
Laptops?
Not what you want.
Laptops?
I think.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
And then the other amount was just to cover mileage and mostly for going to supervisors meetings. I don't,
Supplies.
yeah, and half is for mileage and half was for supplies, yeah.
That's fine.
Yes, we need to add up.
Oh, he'll give us that once he's done.
Oh, yeah, this is kind of working. copy.
So 17,300.
Yep. The bookkeeper guy, on page 7,
Guy, but.
Which would be you.
I changed what's on the request to 4,500. If you look at the second page following that, so that's our software fee is $2,500 plus cloud hosting $1,665. I left a little bit in there just on the safe side. I don't know if there's tech support. Then for
Fine.
the contractual, I went up 2%, I think is what I did. This year.
Sounds good.
I agree. Everybody here in third? At least.
We're good.
I did not budget anything for Tom.
I think that's right. I think we're good.
I think I screwed that up. I don't think that, something's messed up. I'll fix that. That's important. So that's that.
It's good.
Collector contractual, that's gonna be page 8.
We find out what the cash valuator was.
No,
Is it on the,
It's on
Yeah.
her list.
$500.
If she still uses it, then. We're gonna take 2,000 out of postage.
yeah, take the postage out. And I don't know if it needs to be, I don't know. If it's put a question mark next to it, find out. The cash valuator. Yeah. And that's a contract. Oh, no, well, it's just, and the tax bills for the county. What's other expenses for, I wonder?
Let's see that.
Third one down.
I think that's. oh. Contingency.
Want to add,
I think that's what she was in there for.
gotcha.
So this year, this,
Only change was the postage. Or the,
Yeah, we'll take the postage out.
What are you saying, Jim?
this contractual this year, the 6903, we have to fiddle with that a little bit, because I think there's a lot of postage that's being allocated there that shouldn't be. So I gotta look in there a little bit, clean that up.
So what are you suggesting as far as like
I think we're probably okay at the 57,
okay. That, because all that is taking the postage out,
correct?
the rest.
We
of
can
it's the same.
investigate the other ones, the cash valuator, we can ask her about.
Okay. Yep. Mhm.
Yes, sir. Page 9. Contractual, we have 500 for supplies. 400 for postage, which I'll back out.
Mhm. He's got a contingency line too. And he's got his software. I don't know what 170 is. Oh, it might be that. What was the thing he requested halfway through the year? Yeah, there was something he wanted to add to his system, and it might be that. So I think
The
it's,
170?
yeah, I can't remember what it is, though. He sent us all an email. And then I think he vouchered it. Paid it.
We did, because we talked about the tax
Yeah,
on that bill,
Right.
whatever it was.
yeah, I just don't remember what the purpose of it was, but it was a valid reason. So if that's what that 170 is, then leave it. I don't know.
We good there?
Mhm.
Clerk, we have $800 for equipment. Which we had 800 the year before.
I don't think we,
I know the 800 last year was the
Computer.
computer for the deputy clerk, because I think she needed it, but I don't know if we need a new computer in that office. It's,
Okay.
I don't know.
So leave it or put it to 0 for now and we can change it later.
I would put it to 0 for now and we can ask.
In here, I'm gonna back out $800 for postage.
What, Diane?
And answered the question.
Okay, dues.
other expenses for $30.
Going up to 36.
No, I think it's still 30. I
Is
think
that
that's
30?
just a zero.
Okay.
Because when you add it up, it's, oh, well, no, she's got 62,806, so you're probably right. I think you're right.
I don't know.
I
I
thought-
crossed it off and wrote in 62,806. That was me that crossed that off.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. It looked like a 6 to me.
well, regardless. I think, office supplies were at 4,800 this year. I think the unencumbered balance is at 1,680, right? So there's,
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
1,680 is what is left in that, of that. So about a third of it is still left with about a third of the year
Which
to go.
makes sense.
So I think that 4,800 is probably,
Are you talking mileage? Renee, on that?
no, I think that mileage has to, I've never seen that before.
I don't remember seeing any vouchers.
And I've never seen a voucher for mileage, other than once in a while, the deputy clerks would run downtown to do something. So I'm not sure.
Teresa did. There was a voucher
That's
for
right,
Teresa.
to get,
Should pick up stuff in my
yeah,
office.
payroll.
Right,
So I'm,
That's the only one I can remember. of having on.
that shouldn't happen anymore. So,
so that
I mean,
mileage,
technically, she's able to get mileage going to the post office, going to the bank.
except for $2,000.
but it's not
That's a
3,000
lot.
miles, which is about what, 65 cents? $2,000, right? Isn't it? Bill, don't you-
3,000 miles?
Yeah, what's?
Wow.
That's 200, it's divided by 12 is like
I mean,
240
how often does she?
miles a month. Which is 60 miles a week. To go back and
She's
forth.
supposed to keep it log.
Yeah,
Well, how often does she have to go somewhere?
I don't know. Whenever she gets so much cash, she's,
Yeah,
got-
she's
by law,
supposed to
she's
take
gotta get it
cash.
to the bank.
How many times does that? A week, would you think?
how many?
School tax time, it could be a couple times. a
But you
week.
said she's never submitted.
Right. I'm just saying.
This is new, that's why we're questioning it, because it's a new, it's an amount that's new. So I think that's high. I looked at code enforcement and he's upped his to $3,000 for the month or for the year, but I think the way those guys travel around the town, I mean, they're out all the time, so I don't know. I think that's a lot.
Is $500 a reasonable number? High end of reasonable? Well,
Without knowing any, I mean, we've never seen any history, no records of anything, so it's hard to judge
Think we use Kevin.
And
NBT.
just in Manlius.
I hope that's. She might go into Linden.
Oh. So that or the post office are really the two places where, when she's closed, if she's gonna like travel for the town, it would be to those places within the town, and I can't see that adding up to 3,000 miles a year. I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen it before.
We went into the city and came back, that equates to 13 miles, no. 13 bucks, I mean.
Let's say she did 3 times a week, what would that, 16?
That's
I'm just-
only during the tax period. When she might
Like
get-
to rent
So
the
if we
van.
did twice,
Every day,
it's
more.
2.
But she can put so much in on, like, right from her computer. She can make deposits.
If you make a trip every other day, that's 153 days, just like going to Manlius and back.
Let's see.
All year round? Not just
153 trips
school.
for the year.
I say if we did that 500 for the. Short term,
Yeah,
at
let's
least
see what-
until we had some explanation on what.
Yeah,
We have a line item for contingency, so if we need to make a move, we can do that.
$36.
So,
$36.
no, talk about the.
Oh, you mean our,
Yeah.
the general
we
fund.
have room.
I'm looking at the
$36, yeah.
the tax collector. For the clerk.
I mean, I say we take that.
$36 isn't gonna help much.
So what are we doing with the 2,000? What are we gonna?
I think-
500, right?
It's suggesting
thinking.
500. I would say that's reasonable, and we can talk to Nick about.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna say that 36 is actually 30, or we're gonna say that doesn't make a difference.
I don't think it makes a difference, and it might be 36, so.
Okay. We're okay there. Attorney contractual, Renee, you said that. Tim said 40.
Tim is saying to put that, 40,000 this year.
That was verbal. There is no sheet for that.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
And then the other is for the union attorney, which you're gonna need next year because it's gonna have to renew the union contract, so. And that's usually $2,500 or so is what you end up paying, so I think those are reasonable.
Right where it is, 43.
Yeah. You know what, while we're sitting here, I'm gonna look up one.
We have kind of penciled in 22,000 for engineer. Miscommunication between Renee and I.
I thought he was contacting.
And I thought she was gonna do it, so we just went up $2,000 and we'll fix that later.
Yeah.
All right, so page 11. This one confused me, I'll be honest with you, because it doesn't exactly follow, doesn't jive with anything that I have from 2023's budget. So Like if you look here, she has her 2022 figures and they're totaling 79,655 plus another $800. That doesn't, you know, here we have the 2023 budget here is $6,600. So I don't know. Or I'm sorry, 8195 is what she had.
I know, I wondered why it was 6,600 when I think she requested. Oh, no, that's for this year, 6,000. But last year, I mean, for next year, but the 2023 budget was set at 6,600, and I don't even think she asked for 6,600. I don't know why that.
But that might be, you know, what, that might be her fee, the 5,950 plus $650 for the, is that the math, that math that up?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so then that leaves a question, what is Wix and the email, where does that go? Is that under building contractual perhaps?
No. These are the things that you get into Williamson and find out where
Are
that's.
you in Williamson now?
I am in Williamson.
So then this would be not 8450, but it should be 6650. Which is a $50 increase. We want to leave that as is.
Web hosting premium plan and then the email accounts. I think those come out of,
Communication someplace.
yeah, that's what I wanted to look up.
For this one,
Yeah.
80.4.
Gee, we've been taking the Zoom out of there.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and website management. April website management. Lots of. I wonder where she has the meeting. Oh, unless that's the meeting. The website management. It's Zoom, everything is Zoom and website management, and each month we get billed. Website management is like a monthly. So it varies, so I have a feeling that's because the hours that she might be covering Zoom vary, so I would think it's Zoom. The amount, the fee for Zoom and for meetings, it sounds like it looks like that's what's coming out of here.
So we'll leave that as we'll figure out where the next, the website stuff goes later.
Yeah, I'll look it up while you're, what's
So
the?
the next is building and building contractual, which I think we need to work on because we didn't develop a tentative for that yet.
So we did do a little bit as far as contractual with the numbers for. Utilities. Like electric, telephone, alarm. James, if you want to pass that down, that's just James, that's just Jim's. That's what would come out of the contractual line. For buildings.
Okay.
We also didn't put anything in there for equipment. If there's any, I don't know what's needed as far as equipment within the town hall. I don't think so either. I mean. Maybe new more comfortable chairs. We'd let Jim pick them out.
I sent you a link to the one I want.
I know, if you're not getting it, it's like a throne.
It's only $5,000, I think. Should I make copies of this? That's what we had last year. I timed it up for the building.
Okay, yeah, why don't
Building
you
budget.
do that? And I'm gonna look up communications 1660. 16.
The supplies that come out of money. 1,500.
What's the number, Ian? Okay. 40, 16. Have you figured out?
But there's $768 spent already out of that account.
There's a item in here. X bills,
Extras.
wait a minute, 1620, what am I looking at? Supplies?
Yeah.
What number is that under buildings? Are you looking at 0.4?
No, that paper you just handed us.
Yeah, there's a supply category for 1,500.
I think the problem with, we were struggling with some of that because we didn't know what those were for in the past. But there's something in here, there's a tax bill, there's National Grid, there's the schoolhouse, National Grid, not National Grid. Road sign. Road sign. No, Pitney Bowls,
So this one here.
internet,
That's the one.
Down Best,
1620.4.
laser printer checks. Everything in there's signs in here. There's WB Mason, water jugs.
Our electric went from 4,100 to 9,000.
Well, it might because if it's being offset by no propane or very little propane. I think that might be the difference because we went to heat pumps here in the
Okay.
town hall. But I know that BR is using propane right now, but he's
That
thinking,
comes out of the.
yeah,
It comes out there, but.
yeah.
Right.
So it's flat then.
Mostly what I see here for supplies is like. So paper towels, that kind of stuff. It's quill,
Office supplies are coming out of here, I think.
Anticipated.
yeah.
There's a category for office
Garbage.
supplies for everybody's budget. I mean, Nikki had it, Court had it.
Right.
Well, it says in about one.
How much is it in there?
like flat?
How much is the line item?
They're in the.
And
This is what we use year to
1,500.
date.
1,500? So do we eliminate that?
Is that like building supply, like janitorial?
This says trash, there's trash bags in here, but I don't know if we need. Oh, $1,500. Let me see what else.
That's total.
Oh, there's mainly is True Value, but I don't know what that's for, because it doesn't say.
I would think things like light bulbs.
Okay.
AED,
That kind of stuff is gonna go in here.
electrode pads.
Those are expensive.
That's
Maintenance.
budgeted in here, AED upkeep for $500.
Yeah, but the pads. The actual purchase, where did those, I just saw them.
So we're less than. Says 40,000, how much do you have up there?
22,857.
There's,
Right now, your estimate for the end of the year is 10,000 less than what the budget amount was. The only thing we're going over budget on is the copier lease.
$4,000 less, is that what you're saying?
Well, this is what we've used year to date. This is what's anticipated. So then for the year, that's what the budget was.
So it's 4 million less.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so it's 40,000.
it's 2 million.
So it's still better, it's not.
Oh, where's the,
What's the difference between this?
Where's the year to date?
And this?
Budget 20.
This is some sort of updated document, right?
I don't have that. I don't know where that. Renee. did you
Renee
put that
just
together?
handed me this.
I handed that was what you sent me.
That was the budget request for you to fill out. That was.
Yeah, but I went by, you had already done. Didn't you put 2024 at the end there? Is that 2024?
I think
Yeah.
that's maybe, is that what we came up with when the three of us or four of us had sat down a couple weeks ago?
It might have been, but I know you sent me that as part of the package to fill out, but. I don't know if we need any equipment in buildings.
Well,
you
I'm
know?
saying on here.
I don't know if we
at the
need-
Bottom of 2023, it says 40,000. On this little one that Ann just printed, and then. But on the bottom of here, it's 38, so I just didn't know where the other 2,000 people. What's the seal?
Yes.
Then keep supplies that bad, I mean.
The problem I'm having is that. The way this is in Williamson, which is fine because it's all the 1620.4 category. It doesn't break out though, as far as like office supplies and, you know, some of it's obvious.
Right.
Paying National Grid is electricity, but some of it's not obvious if it goes to Quill or WB Mason or some other. Local business that I
Yeah.
can't figure out necessarily.
Explain why the phone and internet. 2022, 10,000, 5,423.
Do you remember we switched Broadvoice and we went from like 600 and 700 $1 a month.
System and everything.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we that literally cut it in half. You're right, cut it in half. But I don't know internet wise. Isn't that Spectrum? That's Spectrum.
Yes,
Which always goes.
Right. Anyway. Okay, so. Where are we?
So what are we trying to, we need to plug a number in there, right?
Yeah, so, I don't have this worksheet, what that thing on there, I don't have that in here. I have it on my screen here, so electric, are we leaving at $8,000 or $9,000? Telephone, internet, 5,400, I just left it the same as, 8.3. The alarm went up. No, I left it the same as 23. Copier lease again, the same, that should probably go up a little bit, I think.
Well, you're already over, your estimate is already over. By
Yeah.
$234.
What do you want to do, like 3,200?
We sticking with the same copier lease that we currently have.
And the copier lease doesn't change, so Toshiba, let me just pull it. Cause I thought I did the math on that, but maybe I didn't write it next. Didn't I write some an amount
It's
next to?
2580 at $215 a month.
Yeah, we're paying $215.35 a month. Toshiba.
I'm just saying, so far, the estimate for the year is 2934.
And I don't know why that is, other than maybe. I think
added
there
up-
was some original,
When I did that worksheet, I added up the three amounts that were paid to Toshiba, which were 585, 577, and 305 for the year, and I doubled it. Is how I got to the
yeah,
2934.
those early numbers. It's a Nikki question because I had to, and then I had to call Toshiba about it because they had overcharged us. And said it would work out in the long run, and then they had a fee on there that. We weren't gonna, that we didn't need
So
to
it's
pay.
Last the second half. is that what you're saying?
I should leave it the same.
I would do 215.35 times 12 for next year. I think that's, I could be wrong, and we can check with Nikki on that, but.
So drop it down to 2580.
2584.
Yeah, 2,600 or something like, just in that range.
2,600.
Yeah, let's do that.
Meter lease, I left at 2,200. I don't know if that changes or not.
Which lease?
Postage meter.
Yeah, that's a Nikki question again. I don't know. And do you remember, do you know if in the day that stayed constant or
yes.
it does?
In terms of postage, so far, we haven't gone through everybody, but so far we've taken out $4,400 from people's, so.
Okay,
So that has.
And it goes, and it needs to go back in here.
So that's what I propose doing this year is just to, it's impossible to allocate the postage amongst the different departments. So rather than doing that, just put it into
It's all in
this.
this. So we gotta add all that you took off.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put it in at 4,400 now, knowing that we're gonna update that.
Adding
later.
4,400 or
I'm gonna change it from 2,500 or whatever it was.
it was 22?
So it's only 44.
No,
No,
it was
it's not.
2,500. 22 is a postage meter lease.
Right, that's.
Oh,
the
sorry.
lease.
So 25 is gonna become 44 for right now. And we'll update that. After we go through the rest of the requests.
Does she still, anybody still use the folding machine? It's ancient.
And it says there's no year-to-date amount even there.
So there's gonna be like a separate line for the postage then here,
Yeah. Oh, can we do a separate line? That would be great.
rather than, you don't want, it's not part of the postage,
0.42.
it's not part of the postage meter lease.
It's all, I mean, all this is gonna be part of building contractual.
Yeah,
How much were we adding for the quote? 25, you said?
No, 44 so far. We'll have to update that.
We're adding 44.
Right, and that's what we've taken out of the other.
Okay.
Out of the departments so far.
It's probably accurate, because I don't think there's anything else. Any other categories where there's gonna be postage.
And what time of year do they use the folding machine? Because it looks like it was used in 22, but it has not been used yet in
I don't
23.
know if she uses it. I don't even know where it is.
And
It's
it says
contractual.
it's a contract, so what do you do? Pay per envelope?
No, it's if they come out to fix it, if it breaks down,
Uh,
it's like a maintenance
Okay.
contract.
Is that if there was a flyer or something?
Mhm.
Kind of like a
Right. I know I used to use it for Larry's letters, if I would help him. Anything that needed to be going to a window
Oh,
envelope, you can put it in there,
The little green
yes.
assessment.
You know.
things.
So I guess we should find out if it's still being used.
yeah.
Actually, they've been coming in real envelopes, haven't they lately? That's what's happening.
That's another question, I mean.
Yeah.
They used to come folded, but they, the last few years. they're coming in
What's the next one?
an actual
Water.
Water at 300.
That's why that hasn't been used.
That's just our water
I don't know
cooler,
if it's cheaper, but
our water delivery, I think.
if we aren't using it, you know.
That's still the same.
I mean, it's-
We're at 234 so far this year. I don't know.
You're right, it used to be just a folded up.
Okay.
stuff.
Cost of water.
They're
will
bright
up.
green.
Do you need to increase that? So you can't drink the water here.
350. I mean, it's not. It hasn't gone up. I mean,
Which one's 350?
Water.
add a little bit. I don't think it,
We're in what, September? Is that a monthly bill?
I think it's just as,
I
they
think
just
it
make a
should-
delivery, yeah, and they usually come in, swap in and swap out.
building supplies, we have at 1,500. That's probably reasonable.
Well, that's what we were talking, I think that's good.
So I think it's maintenance kind of thing.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
AED upkeep, wasn't there just a big bill for that? I feel like we're gonna be over on that 500, should probably go up.
The pads expire and they're pretty expensive, so. if
Who
you have
did we get a bill, who would we have gotten a bill from?
I don't know,
I think you might be right about that, I just don't know. Seen it in here.
might be on the voucher or on the abstract that still has to be closed out
Oh,
for
okay.
September.
See it in here. So you think that's a maintenance contract?
Yeah, keep,
I think that's for
That's the
pads
pads.
that they
Yeah, I
have.
saw the pads in here, but it wasn't
Well, we
like,
only spent $125 so far for the year, so what are the odds something's gonna come up unless you have to purchase a new AED? And batteries are about 700, 800 bucks for those, by the way, I think. No, I don't know, they're really expensive.
Zoll,
that's it.
Yep, that's,
$117 in April. For the electrodes,
That's the pads.
yeah, but it's not about I don't see the battery, that might be, was that what you think?
Batteries are about every 5 years. or so.
Oh, okay. Sure were.
Might be able to leave that alone.
Can we put morph that into supplies? Wouldn't that be part of supplies, that AED?
There's probably a reason why it was separated, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it doesn't really make a difference to me.
Hmm.
I'm just looking through this past abstract to see if I could have sworn there was more. Just that 100 and
Can you look up just the vendor, Zoll?
that seems all in there.
Was it last month's abstract?
Yeah, the September 12th one.
Hmm. This month, I should say. How you doing, Bill? Mhm.
Should have brought snacks.
I have apples in the car.
Yeah.
You want me to go get the apples?
I
Right?
just wanna keep moving.
All right, yeah, let's just leave it as
All right.
is. Yeah, get the AED out. Everyone get a quick zap. Repairs. Repairs, we have it,
Those quiet ones.
5,000 was last year, this year. How much of,
5,000
that's what's on this sheet that you gave us from Tom.
from Tom. I think that went down because if you look at the total on his sheet, there was $40,000. The actual budget was revised down to 34,500.
Okay. And I know painting and landscaping, I thought was only like 1,500. And I think the only reason we have that in there was if Nikki's office, the clerk's office needed to be.
So that's not painting outside the building.
No, that, we're looking,
Are we thinking of
using the ARPA money for that. That was one of those, the part of that proposal that at the last board meeting.
right?
So on this sheet, it says 2,500, on this sheet, it says 5,000. We haven't come close to it. I don't know
Yeah,
why
but-
it's up to 5,000.
That,
So if we're using
the one
ARPA
on
money
the
for
right
it,
hand
we
there,
need it.
that was, I think, a tentative.
We're using ARPA
First draft type of thing.
Stacy on our meeting the other day.
No,
Well, that's
yeah,
in
right there, that's what Tom did
the
last.
landscaping, we don't.
That wasn't even, that wasn't used
because
for the budget, so.
That's part of ARPA as well, for outside, but the painting, the interior painting
Into, all right.
was, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what. We held it in, money in for, was because we had done. The codes office and the supervisor's office and the hall, but we hadn't done. Nikki's office, it's hard to find a time when,
Mhm.
you can move stuff around and,
So
So we could keep repairs at 2,000. Does that make sense?
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, I think that's better.
We're
That's
doing
better.
2,000?
Probably better to go high on that than low. Painting and landscaping, I don't know what you guys want to do there.
I would take landscaping out because we're gonna use ARPA for that, but I mean, just, that's not, but painting. If we need to paint the clerk's office, then we would need the money. If we don't need to paint the clerk's office, then we don't need the money.
gotta come out of repairs.
I think these are just ideas that have been
Yeah.
included in there. I think it's all, isn't it all
Well, I
under
think
that
this-
one number?
Right,
Yeah, and I think this is what the number tallies up to. Except I don't know what came out that reduced it to 34 and
it was
change.
repairs. I'm pretty sure repairs was pretty high.
Okay,
Um,
and I know, I'm pretty sure painting we reduced to 1,500.
So what, are we gonna leave something in there or give it over?
As far as what, painting?
The painting landscaping line,
How much is there?
1,500.
I wouldn't keep it for landscaping, but maybe for interior painting. Unless we wanna use ARPA for that too. If we needed it. Do you wanna eliminate that line? Or do you wanna leave it?
Could eliminate that line and buffer the repairs to cover any incidentals you might have to.
Painting, yeah, because landscaping is gonna be covered.
So we get rid of painting and landscaping and say we increase repairs to 2,500.
Mhm.
Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
You're only keeping 500 then?
Well, I think there's enough of a cushion in repairs that we haven't really. used a whole lot. And then cleaning service, I don't know, I just assumed it's gonna go up, and I just bumped it up $500 to be safe.
To be honest with you, I could have reached out and I thought maybe you did.
I don't know, these people
Oh.
are. Sorry.
So I thought about reaching out and then I thought, "But maybe I don't want to say an idea and never mind if they're not
Right.
thinking about raising the rate, so. I left
So
it.
you put
I
75.
put 7,000 just.
Highway is good with once a month and we get once a week. Yeah.
So the total, and we have a little bit of work to do left on this, but the total currently is 38,350,
How much?
38,350,
So that went up about $4,000,
which is postage,
so it didn't go up.
but barely.
Okay.
I'm plugged in 38,350.
Okay.
Are we doing any building equipment? We decide.
I can't think of. I mean, the copier is new. I think her postage setup in there is good, is
Right.
new.
I know we keep bringing back the chairs, but is that something that's gonna, that,
That's part of JCAP. We're
We're
trying
gonna
to
try and get that through JCAP.
try.
Yeah, if we get the right paperwork, so this time.
so we'll leave that.
38,350 is the final.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we're good there, we move down, so this is all verbal, no, I take that back, I did fill out one based on our conversation that we had with BR when we met last week.
Where are you now? What number?
Number 13
Oh, okay.
is Central Garage. Okay, so 3 equipment purchases, gas pump for 16,000. West Bay heaters, that's going to run off of, he told me the fuel.
Yeah.
Some propane possibly, I don't know.
Well, I
what
think he
said.
wants to get rid of the propane.
That's right, it's gonna be electric,
So it's gonna be electric.
and the flooring,
He wants, yeah.
heavy duty,
Linoleum.
heavy duty linoleum type.
This is electric bill separate, cause our electric went way down. Is this gonna bring the electric back up?
His electric is separate, but the
Okay.
propane will go away, so it should
It'll probably
be
be,
right back
around-
wash.
but we're gonna go from 265,500 this year. On that budget line to what, 104?
104.
So that's a big, that's a big dip. That should help.
What do we end up with?
Right.
Those are what his,
15,000, 16,000, 10,000, 19, and 45,000 for contraction.
yeah, because we finished the roof. So the garage roof is 208,000. Last year we had 265. So now that the roof is out, we don't have that expense going forward. Mhm.
But that was 20 some odd grand higher than what was budgeted
Yeah.
last year. Too. Yeah, 10,000 higher. Good.
Yeah.
All right, central communication equipment, we said Renee, you said we're good there. The budget ain't, no computer will go in or anything like that. There was no. request
I'm
for
gonna
this.
ask, I don't see any, I don't think we need any new IT equipment, but I mean, I've got it on my list of things to ask. I'll ask
Is
Dan
that
something.
something with the sound? Is that where that would be?
It could be, yeah. So it's that's still a question mark.
Okay.
Figuring out how to do that, and I don't know how, still in the street.
The monthly IT bills, we kept the same. I didn't put any increase in there for that. Nor did I put any increase in for the tech support, which is hourly budgeted at $3,000 a year. So we're pretty much at, this is through August 31st, this 2339, how much we spent year to date. So we'll be under budget if that holds true. Or we're way under budget for the tech support.
So hold, keep it the
What's
same.
the? It's
1680.4.
Because
Save some.
I'm wondering. And the only difference is if we've got new personnel that are gonna have to get up to speed on things that like we already know how to do.
That's,
You know what I mean?
yeah, they might need more tech support.
They might. So what comes out of that 0.41 line? Are the monthly fees at $311.50?
That should be a 2338, right?
No, this just says that. Am I looking at this right? This is the 0.41.
That's hourly.
I
so
know,
maybe
but look what's coming out of it. It's the monthly
Right, but
bill.
you see down here, I put an entry on to reclassify those entries, monthly management service, the 311.50. It's a year.
Okay, so this is.
So
Okay.
what's left in there is 708.75, which is the tech support,
Okay.
which actually should be moved out of there.
It's wrong, right? I mean, this was confusing.
So all of this,
All right.
these two here are tech support, or I'm sorry, are the monthly contract. These two combined, that 708 doesn't belong.
So that's 3,000 and.
Yeah, unless the invoices, which I don't see, are including both the monthly fee and tech support. So in that case, we have to go back and review the invoices and break out the expense. But some of those are for the same amount every month, right?
Yep. That 311 is the monthly charge. And I do think those bills have, I do think those bills have both on it.
So put 4,000
Like
in there.
if we need tech support, it gets included in the bill that we pay. Yeah, I don't know if we need 3,000 for tech support, but the minute I say that.
I guess why,
New coming in.
That's what I mean. So it's probably something that needs to be kept.
so leave it as is.
Yeah. If it was the same crew, I'd say, no, we all know it. We don't need that much tech support, but it's not gonna be the same crew. So. Well, it's gonna be some of you, but you haven't been even using. Some of the,
I wouldn't know.
yeah, I know.
So we can take some money out of here because there's postage. In there.
And we don't know how much
Wait.
though, do we?
No, I was looking at 2022. Those are my notes looking at 2022. There's postage, office supplies, checks, tonners. There's hardly anything coming out of here now. I don't know what that 509 is, but that's all that's come out so far this year.
I don't know how, I do this in words and all the time I get messed up. I was gonna go find out what that was, but. Frozen.
So keep the 7,600 in there.
Yep.
Put one before. Fine.
So, this was in 22, this was all, owner office supplies, checks,
What would all the supplies if each line had their own?
I don't know, but that's what was in there in 2022. This year we have hardly anything in there. I think we did a better job of putting those types of expenses to actual departments.
Right.
Yeah, if we've only spent $500 out of a $6,500 budget, it seems excessive. Newsletters. They send out newsletters, isn't that all on computer now? Should we send out newsletters? Oh,
No,
Was there talk of doing one once? That's why I
there's
was
been
in-
talk about it, but unless you wanna clone me,
on that line.
because there's no staff here to do a newsletter.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
there's nothing on that line. I just.
It was like, it has never come to fruition.
1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're at 509,
Put it at 1,000 and it's something there and.
What's the line, the account number?
1670.4.
That's what the 509 is for.
I'm guessing it's toner or something for the copier. Be wrong.
You wanna pay Nancy for writing a newsletter?
Hmm?
You wanna pay Nancy for
No.
writing a newsletter?
No,
Okay,
no, there was an issue with that, so she knows it.
all right.
Okay, wait a minute,
1670.4.
7. No, it decided to do its own.
Done with the printing one or not yet?
Almost, she's checking what's in there.
So newsletter's nothing, right?
Got rid of the newsletter. We budgeted $2,000
Zero.
for this year. We're not gonna do it this next.
All of that are legal notices. The
Okay,
newspaper. That's what the 509.97, every single one,
so
mass media.
And we'll have.
oh, I can't imagine that much more in like.
Yes.
Should we just, well, yeah, we're in
Leave the
September
1,000?
already, so.
Leave it at 1,000? It'll
I
be
think
extra
leave it
there.
at 1,000.
And
I mean, because the
Being-
budget,
it's
the
a
budget one is gonna be a one, because you gotta put a lot of words in legal notice for the budget.
Mhm.
'Cause those are probably short ones. Keep it at 1,000.
Okay.
I don't think you need any more than that.
I'll help reduce some things.
insurance jumped quite a bit. We were short this year. We had to do a budget modification, if you remember, so I went a little high. 5% higher would be almost 44,000. I went 45. Completely, you know, we can go higher if you want. To be on the safe side, these things are going up like crazy.
Well, I don't know, Thomas, our broker agent might have insights into that. I would keep it high.
I'll leave it as is, or do you want to bump it up a little bit more? I wouldn't go down.
40
No.
was pretty good.
Or you think 45 is good?
Pretty significant jump. It was right.
Well, especially because we started off at, first year we were with them, I think it was 30.
It was right around, this column is the 22 budget.
They keep adding stuff, like you had the regular insurance, now you have to have cyber insurance, and then like the fire department, we had to get cancer insurance.
Oh,
They
goodness.
just keep adding stuff on.
Okay,
So we're good there for now.
for now.
Dues, judgments, workshops, dues and judgments. I left as is. I don't think that's gonna change much. It's financial this year. Workshops, we doubled to $4,000 due to, you know, the new phase.
Newly elected officers are gonna need to go to training,
It's probably a bit high, but
if they will. If they have the time, but that's a good, I mean, they always offer it right up, and I don't know, Diana, the problem with you, I think, is always you're in tax season then.
I know, in January.
And I thought during COVID, they definitely
Research
offered.
it today, but there's nothing on that site yet for,
But Association of Towns, okay,
for town stuff.
contingency, I left at 25,000. This is lower because we did use some of the contingency this year.
Yeah.
So 25, basically 25.
Mhm.
I think that's good.
A little bit.
So what's the total
Curious.
figure there?
518, 331 so far.
Scares me.
Serious.
All right, police.
I bumped that up. I bumped that up a little bit. That's, I don't know what number that is on here, but 14. Because it went up 6% last year, so I just did another 6% for this year, which is 1320, so I just rounded it to 23.5.
335?
Yeah, and we're just about. We're sort of right on pace with. Some of that 16,000 this year was actually expenses that were never paid last year for some reason. We never got billed for it by the county, and so then they recognized their mistake and billed us. So we had to pay this year, so like about $5,000 of that is not this year, so if you take that out, it's just about half. Spent so far.
Signs, BR wanted to just lump these two lines together this year. He wasn't exactly sure why we had two lines for traffic control. But we're just gonna call it one and make it $2,000 up 500 from this year's budget.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, SPCA went up a touch.
A touch. I talked to Troy Waffner. He was supposed to be sending me a record of the calls that they've received this past year in Pompey. Just to see like how many times they get called out here for what, whether it's animal control or animal abuse. But he did say, and it's true, they have not had this budget line has not gone up since, the last time it was raised was in 2019.
Well,
Yeah, so they've been sitting on 52 and change since then. And as we know, everything goes up. So he's supposed to send me those call lists. I'm just curious to make sure that I said, those are big jumps. It's not a lot of money in our budget, but the percentage is a lot.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's probably warranted. And anybody ever get complaints about the SPCA?
I just gave the number to somebody the other day.
Oh,
Somebody's got
I mean,
a.
but not for a complaint. I mean, they're not complaining about it.
No.
Yeah, so I think they are a good service.
6750. 6750.
Yeah, but it's a pretty significant jump. But I think it's ours.
Board of Assessment Review, I don't believe I received a request back from them,
Did you send it to Ray Randall? Probably.
whoever,
Yeah, no,
You
you
did.
probably won't, and nothing's gonna change on that
I
line.
believe that as is.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk though about raising those other ones? Would we raise theirs or no?
They're so different. They meet once.
Yeah.
Once. I mean, it's a
Okay,
set.
that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, if it's fair to the others to compare.
I
don't think it is. Drug testing is high. That's what we've always budgeted. We've
Yeah.
spent $150 so far.
And it typically is never used, the whole thing, so.
So I did not drop it. Typically, drug testing would come into play when, if there's an accident with one of our.
They just randomly do it, right, Bill?
I should know that, I just.
See,
I think it-
yeah, it's random testing. for
It's
CDL.
random, yeah. So they done it once this year. And I don't think they did it at all last year, but maybe.
That's
COVID.
correct, we have it 3 times a year.
I mean, you could probably drop it to, I mean, you can leave it there and drop it a little bit. It's not gonna make a difference.
$1,000. No.
Drop it a little bit, yeah. I mean, even 900, I don't think it doesn't get used, and if we need it, we'll go into contingency to. That's someone.
Yeah.
These are, okay. So we've got BR,
We did the equipment. He put in put the sheet in here, yeah. $500 for chairs. And these are my notes from our conversation.
okay, for office chairs for him and.
Yeah.
Where did
They
I?
wanted us to come down and sit in the chair so they could know what they're like.
Have a nice break. Where did I highlight?
Well, the break room is another story.
So that's
Those chairs are like embedded in their room.
everything else stayed the same.
Okay,
37,050.
so the museum just wants. Oh, no, we're not, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Get rid of 3.
And then the 3,000, I forget what that was.
I can tell you, and that's exactly the same as last year. We got 1,000 for office supplies, 750 for travel, conferences. 1,000 for other. which I think-
1,000?
Yeah. And we talked about it. I don't recall off the top of my head what that's comprised of, but she had a pretty good record of what that was.
Yeah, I think she did.
Then dues for $250.
That's good with that?
This 725 is actually a little bit low. There's some expenses that are posted, I think, currently into the garage line contractual that need to get moved here. That would,
Oh, there was she put stuff in the general fund
right,
budget.
and she sent me a list of things that I
Yeah,
can move,
that
so we're
needs to
gonna.
be
we're gonna
moved.
take care of that. Okay, so lighting contractual, this is street lighting. I have some work to do here. I gotta pull all the invoices for the year and separate them out between the general and the two lighting districts. That hasn't been done yet. So if you look at the two lighting districts, there's nothing paid out of there currently. So we gotta clean that up still. But we'll be probably right around 9,200. I think that will be okay right there for the year.
Okay.
I think next year.
So the special lighting districts, the money needs to go there. You know.
That's if you change.
Okay, thank you.
All that.
All right,
I will talk to you guys.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Bye, Ann.
see you.
See ya.
So we'll leave the 9,200 to that. Programs for aging, that's.
That's always the same.
Way in the back, it's same.
Oh, it's the same.
Okay, swim program. I did 50 participants times $100 per participant times 105% to arrive at a increased rate for this year, assuming that they're gonna increase the rate. Get to 5,250. That's the max I think that we would spend if we hit our
We
allotment
go it
and they.
to the
increase
Poly
the-
program again. And we're not putting any, I don't know how we, I guess we should talk about this because I don't know how we put any money in for a swim program that we know
Is this the
is a
73?
huge question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do we, I mean, I know this is your favorite thing, James, but I don't know how we budget other than to use the Tully program right now. I don't know how we put any money in for, we don't have a swim program.
He's gonna buy a Powerball ticket and he's gonna win
Good,
and it's
then
gonna
he-
be the facility.
I've got Powerball tickets.
It's gonna donate, he's gonna donate it into swimming building.
That'd be cool. Actually, if I won that much, I probably could do that. I mean, did we ever, I mean, the only thing we ever talked about was, what was the golf course? Calvary was, cause that's where, was there,
Small.
but that's the.
But that's, yeah, and FM's already, as I understand it, using it. It's a private country club. They use it for swim team. We would need it for a huge chunk of time to offer lessons.
And their
And
patrons.
I haven't looked into it yet. I haven't in time, but I will. If
But
you,
their patrons use it all year. round.
I know.
It's a membership.
dreaming if you think.
I don't think that's an option for us, but
So,
yeah, but I mean, I don't blame you for asking because it is an unknown. We don't know for certain. I know we got turned down by JD. The only, as I said, the only option that we could offer our own swim program where it would be local is Jamesville Reservoir, and then you run into people don't like to put their kids in the water. They want a clean pool where they can see the bottom. They want it indoors. They don't want to put them outside. They don't want, and I don't blame them about the
It's not
algae.
gonna be any different than the Tully one, not really.
Right.
You're still, it's the same scenario.
That's
just-
why I'm saying, I think for our purposes right now, we just have to go with what we know instead of trying to figure out, like, let's put a lump sum aside in case. I don't know what else, how would we even know?
it'd just be a wild
I mean,
guess.
what it cost the town was almost $35,000 to run the program at Cass College. With swimming instructors and the rental of the pool and the coordinator and everything. So I can't see setting that money aside without knowing that we have some sort of a plan. That would be me. So I don't know. I'm good with that amount, is what I'm saying. But I need 3, so I just want to know that. we got-
I'm good.
I'm good with it 'cause I don't see anything changing
Yeah.
for next summer,
I know.
so.
Okay,
Historian, she just said,
Yeah.
thank you, I will agree to what the town board decides on salary.
can we make her 1,800 this year? Would anyone care? Like, she would be thrilled. Okay. Not gonna, $20 is not gonna make a difference. And we're gonna tell her to spend her office supplies or we're taking them away, or they're contractual, like she never spends them.
All right,
Okay. Historical property contractual is number 19.
Yeah,
It's
they left
exactly the
that.
same.
Yep.
Celebrations, and they floated the idea of doubling it for Earth Day.
Adding some to cover some of the expenses of everything, because we do that now, regularly.
Wasn't there an issue with doing that? Didn't we-
Well, I mean, I'm not saying we can buy the seedlings that we were doing for the giveaway, but there are other costs, you know, that we could,
the cost of the shredder coming in and
well, that's covered somewhere, but we could put it in here, but that's like a $750 item.
Isn't that the same as giving away trees? Conceptually,
I have a hard time figuring out why we couldn't cover the tree.
I know,
You know, just myself, I just don't
Yes.
see,
it's.
it doesn't make
isn't
sense.
that a Tim thing? Didn't Tim have an issue with that?
Yeah.
there's probably something in there.
It's the giving away of things.
You're giving away town money.
We're not giving away when they bring their shredding stuff here and dump
You're
it, but
paying
you're
for the
right, we're
service.
paying for it. We're paying for them to be able to do it, same with the electronics.
Hmm.
So,
I think you're right in leaving it, putting some money here. And we can figure the details out later.
Yeah.
yeah, I just know if you're gonna include the shredding, then that is someplace else in our budget.
At some place.
I think it's under the highway, but
What about
What do we do?
if we're shredding, it's like a $750, $800.
shredding and
I
recycling?
mean, we made,
Electronic
well,
recycling.
we made money off steel stuff.
Yes, we did make
What
some.
happens with the electronics thing? How do you?
I don't think we make anything. I think
No,
that's
that
just
was
that
just-
there's a place to take it to recycle.
They come
instead of dumping.
in charge, I think, right?
Does that cost
Yeah,
us
Jim
anything?
is very invested in this because he has
I
a
haven't seen the
TV
engagement yet,
that he wants to.
but-
So we have.
Yeah.
I agree. 'cause
Just leave
It's the
it.
only time any of my.
I
I'm
know.
gonna stay impartial on most things except for the shredding.
I say we leave it at 1,000.
Okay.
See how it goes.
$1,000.
Okay.
We're nearing the end, I think. Okay,
See, what was it?
Zoning.
he put in,
We've got his budget, I mean, his personnel for, yeah, for Tim and then for Tyler, first two lines.
yeah, so, okay, I assumed when he sent this back, I should have followed up with him, that he wanted everything to stay the same with the exception of mileage, which he increased $1,500. He didn't write in amounts for office supplies, travel, BAS software, E-code, that kind of stuff. So I assumed that we were gonna keep E-code the same and contractual is going up $1,500 for mileage. Correct?
I agree, I mean, you're saying the 7450 from this year plus
Plus
15,
$1,500.
yeah, I would say that. Do you think that's what he meant? I think that is.
Can't see him cutting his budget.
No, no.
And the
And
mileage. is-
Mileage, he added his hours, so his mileage would be higher by doing more too, so.
And he did put down there that the increase for mileage is for Tyler and myself, although we've had a discussion about how we
And
can,
that's no good.
and I don't think we can do that. So, but I mean, we can leave it there for now, and if that includes. If that bump is just for Tyler, then we might wanna adjust.
Planning is on page 22.
16,750.
So this is where the
Yeah.
fees start to increase.
Yeah. I've got them, Ann left them with me. So. The request is to up the stipend for the planning board members, right?
Correct.
So it will
So
be one at
150
five,
to 200 each.
so it will be, the chair would get 500 and the members would get 200 each, and there's 6 members, so the whole total is 1,700.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good.
Go with that.
Are you guys, well, that's what we.
Yes.
We're good, yep.
Contractual dropped. Why, but. I'll leave it at 1,300, that's what they requested.
That's interesting.
Well, that evens things out a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, wait,
Why?
the 1,300
If you look at
includes the, no, it's 3,000 total.
from our ignoring their sheet from.
Oh,
our
yeah,
budget last
gotcha.
year,
Oh,
they
yeah,
had 2,500. I don't know why. I don't know if $1,200. I don't know, I'm not sure what that is.
well, last year they included it in the stipends were on the same,
But they're also up in personnel.
yeah, that's wrong. It was in 2 places.
I don't know, it could be something
Okay,
else.
all right, so let's move on.
Environmental contractual, $1,500.
I think we said we're gonna do the same for them if we're doing it for the other
So this
boards.
would be 1,700.
So, no, they've got 8 committee members at $200 and then 1 chair at 500.
And that'd be 21.
Yeah. Yep.
SOTS is what it is,
Mm.
906,150. That's page 24, that's in there. Engineering. We talk about that, and that's gonna stay the same. I think we did talk about
That's,
that.
yeah, that's the Arcadis for the landfill
Right.
monitoring, and that's a good number.
And the
The
mowing,
mowing went up a little.
yep, and that's per BR, that's is what it is.
Okay.
Vacant lot mowing
That's fine.
in cemetery, we had those stats last year. The spring, that there's no change in the spring,
No,
correct?
not that I know
Water service contractual. I don't recall what's in there. I left the budget the same.
of. What's that line number? Because I'm gonna look that up.
89.4.
I don't know. 99.4. If that relates to the water treatment in this area because of the salt,
I think you're right.
I think that's what it's for.
Oh, you're right. So do we leave that as is? I mean, we're at 376 year to date. All
That
three.
we've used.
The rate 31, yep, we've used 376,
From the sixth.
Out of 1,600.
right?
Or that's what it's for. And we should change the water, oh, it's not the same on there, never mind, I'll tell you later. Oh, this says reclassify contractual expense. 376.26. Doesn't tell me what it's for. Okay,
Alright.
can't help you.
Do we take that down though? We need that much?
Yeah, I don't know what that's,
Do we
when
need-
it says reclassify, is it you're moving something out of here or into here?
Into that line. I can find out later.
Okay. That's the only thing in there.
Yeah, so why don't we, who do we use for this?
A company.
No, there is somebody that comes in, I forget his name, he's a nice, he always looks to know he's coming to do. Oh, wait a minute, not for, there's a guy that comes to test, but that can't be this.
Take it down to.
Wish I knew what it was for.
I'm gonna tell you how much we spent last year. 89. We spent $4,005 last year, on both of those combined. So $2,500 minus four.
So we should leave it.
So yeah,
Okay.
maybe we just haven't paid it yet.
Okay.
Right. So that's.
Okay,
Getting there, you guys.
yep,
So I'm
Page
the highway
26.
and once you get the highway, it's. Relatively simple.
Sort of seven, but
Yeah,
this is what it is. I just split it. Roughly the same percentage between general and highway is what we used last year. I think it's 51-49 or something along those lines. Social Security or FICA is 7.65% of all of the salaries and wages. Rounded up to the
Yeah.
nearest $500, I think is what I did. Workers' comp, what did I do for workers' comp? I think I just went up $1,000, which is close to double what we had.
yeah, we pay that quarterly.
It's been relatively
nine-
consistent, if I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah, in fact, it's been a money saver for us.
No unemployment or disability, health insurance,
Ugh,
yeah,
ugh.
106.
Everyone's talking double digits for health insurance.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's true,
I got my renewals and they're 10 to 12% across the board, depending on what plan you have.
I mean, there's. I think, we have, I mean, most of everybody's on Teamsters and we already know what that is because we're locked into a contract, although that's gotta be renewed. But we've got the number for that.
Mhm.
Excel's Blue Cross Blue Shield for the 65 and olders is been a money saver for us, so it's not really gonna hurt us. The biggie is the gap employee retirees that are between 55 and 65 that aren't Medicare eligible but need insurance. And you get killed on those, and we have, I think, 4 or 5, and they're with Oseba, and Oseba's got some issues right now, so we're not sure that we should stay with Oseba. And the interesting thing is, just at the supervisors luncheon last week. Next month, we're gonna have somebody come in to talk to us about exactly that. So I might have some like helpful, like it's information that's helpful to figure out, but we got a budget for the health insurance, but hopefully it might be some of it's reasonable, but especially with the Teamsters but I don't know what Blue Cross Blue Shield will do. So did you bump it how much?
10 grand.
Which is what percent? Like 10%?
Roughly.
Okay. And do you think that's conservative or do you think that we're not, that's maybe not enough? I don't want to be short.
It might be low, I mean. It's gonna be between 10 and 12. So. 200.
What are you looking at, Bill?
No, it's not helpful.
No, not 200, but
12% would be 107, 500. So we're gonna do 108. It'd be real conservative.
well, put it in for now. I don't want to be short. on
Yeah,
health
that's what
insurance.
I was looking for the next number down to 200. That's what I was.
So that's the total benefit.
Well, that's all for the.
That's the all item.
Plus, what ends up happening sometimes is. Well, not so much on this budget, but with highway. When there people come and go, then it changes the numbers.
Rusty properties or what we do about fund balance. Is that premature?
Where are you looking? Is it even?
That's not on the sheet, but. Which 1860, 685. I just want to make sure that this is working.
It said
correctly.
$3,268. Special districts are easy to zip through and then.
Here we go. We did do revenues yet. Top general fund revenues. We'll flag that.
I have a feeling we're gonna need to meet again.
This is just revenues, which if you keep going through the budget, it's gonna be the next section after it. So SOTS is what it is, on 906,150. Interest and penalties, I got the same $9,500. Franchise, I bumped $1,000 up to $80,000 from last year's budget. It kind of keeps on trend with where these things have been going. Clerk fees, trending a little bit higher this year, so I bumped it up $1,000 to $3,500. Zoning fees kept it 500. Planning board fees, we doubled. Why did we do that?
I'll tell you when,
It was your call.
on my call, because I probably had it on this sheet that. Fees, what zoning?
No, yeah, zoning
Planning
fees. Planning boards, yeah, planning boards.
Planning board. Because we've been trending the last 3 years over $1,000.
Yep.
1,300, 1,065 and 1,270. I don't know, I didn't look at what this year's.
This year's, I gotta find it, because I don't think it's put in the right spot, so.
So I just thought we should be reflecting more income from that.
Interest income, I was pretty conservative. I took this year's forecasted or projected it for the rest of the year, and then took 75% of that, and that's how I got $45,000.
Which we could expect to do much better.
We should do a lot better than that.
Yeah.
But I wanna, not knowing what rates are gonna do,
Mhm.
I wanna, be too piggish there. What's that?
That's a big one though.
Yeah. So we could be in trouble if rates plummet.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, yeah, so that's good. I think that's a.
75% of,
Well, the
What do
only
you think?
thing, if we use up the art, isn't most of that come from,
no. No,
It doesn't?
600,000 is ARPA, and I think there's 2 million in my class.
oh, there is, oh, okay.
But ARPA does help.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was talking
So,
to. oh, go
600,000, so let's say 1 million or 1,400,000 at 4%, I think 45.
I mean, that's where with the rates high, the longer, it's a little bit slower we spend on that.
Yeah.
I mean, we need to. have a
ahead.
Plan, but
$500 for,
I don't know.
I forgot.
rental,
I know, it's what,
You ever rent the building?
no.
Get rid of it.
I just don't know what it's for.
I don't mean, it's
Year and dates, nothing.
nothing. Well, it's.
Dog licenses.
Dog licenses, I left at 2,500, which was the same as 23. Building permits, 18,000, is slightly higher than, I'm up $3,000. I think we discussed that.
Yeah, we did. We've been trending a little, just around 18,000 for the last 2 years.
Fines and forfeited bail, I went up $1,000. That might be not the right call, might want to leave it as is at $8,000. This 11,356 is that requires some cleanup based on how got the different hands in the pot here trying to post the court fee. So that just needs to be cleaned up a bit. It's not going to be 11,356 for the year.
Well. In the day, the courts were bringing in about in the mid-20s, and now they're down in 7,000 and 8,000. I mean, there's just no business. Nobody's writing tickets, like the state police just aren't doing it, and I think that's a lot of where the money is coming from.
Yeah.
Maybe not, maybe to you they are, but just saying. It just, I can't explain it. Every month I get the comptroller's bill and I'm just like, there's no money here.
So do you want to leave it at 8 or 9?
I would be conservative there. I just don't see, I have not seen it. I was hoping we'd have a bounce after COVID and I haven't seen it. I wish we could, but.
Okay, scrap it up to $500.
What's scrap?
Way down in scrap, huh?
What?
Way down from where it was.
We're at 788 this year. So far year to date.
Way 4,000 last, 2 years. ago.
Last year, we brought in 1,800. Oh, it was two different places, sale of scrap. 1836 was an A. There's two different account numbers. 1836 and 1875, could that possibly be right?
I have no idea.
One is highway and the other, oh, I think what we've been doing, have we been splitting that?
Could be.
When the scrap comes in, scrap revenue, we split it? I forget how we decided that. What's in the scrap metal policy?
FM tax, we left that as is, it's a fixed fee per number of parcels, I believe. AIM is what it is. It's always been 36 grand and change. Mortgage tax, I left at 180. This needs cleaning up as well. In this 207 is last year's fourth quarter, the December payment. Doesn't belong in here. I gotta talk to our software vendor about getting that out. So I think what I said is $126,000 in there for December of last year, so we're probably gonna be okay at 180.
Okay. Fingers
And
crossed.
ARPA, I didn't do anything with ARPA. I didn't budget any revenue for ARPA, and I also didn't budget any equipment expenses for ARPA.
It's income statement type.
Right, it's an in and out,
Right.
we'll just make a budget modification
If we
when
use-
we spend.
If we use, when we use it.
So if we don't use any fund balance, that'll be our taxes right there. Compared to
Where?
this, 564. Last year, we used, I can show you. Last year, we used this $463,265 of fund balance to plug that gap.
That's just general fund.
That's general fund. So this year, we're starting the year with $547,000 in fund balance. Our revenue to date is 1.4 million, expenditures are 1.4 million. Balances as of 8/31 is 517 grand. Projected revenues for the rest of the year is about 170,000. Expenditures are 388,000. Which is comprised of a lot of stuff. Primarily the highway roof we still have to pay for, 208 grand, and then roughly $45,000 a month for just regular expenses and payroll. Gets us to projected estimated fund balance at the end of the year of $300,000. So we have a little bit of a cushion there. We don't have 400 and whatever I said from last year.
Well, we had over 500 last year and then we used for. Why did we use that much?
This is copied exactly from.
Unappropriated fund balance, we left ourselves 50 grand. Saving the highway. I'm not doing that though, Bill, do you remember that? I'm not doubting you, I'm doubting, I just don't remember that.
Yeah.
Yep, unexpended balance. Yeah,
Oh, we expect that decline though, right? Because the roof expenditure was anticipated. Is that right?
we expect what?
Well.
Oh, yeah.
it Declined by 200 grand.
Yeah.
That's,
So if you wanted to leave $50,000 in there, which is tight. We could utilize 250,000 for this year's budget. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we're gonna leave a little more in there. Now, we'll get to highway, but you're gonna see a pretty big decline in highways budget.
Because of that roof.
We haven't done anything yet, no, because of the equipment.
Oh, that's right. But we don't have the roof in either.
Highways in general.
Oh, the roof is in general, you're right.
Right. So not using any fund balance for highway, and again, we still have to go through the numbers. You know, we're looking at a decline in taxes of $138,000. So, you know, we can monkey with this a little bit.
I have an unrelated question. We pick up any new revenue from the towers? Ryan
Well,
told me
that's
he
gonna
was
be
going to.
in- Yes, yes,
Be in this one or not?
Yep.
Well, that's cool. So you're right, it'll be
it
December.
will be in 2024. Because it will be January, we'll see it. Yes, we did. They assessed them much.
And I know he told me he was going to increase it.
He increased all of them. I forget how much each. He showed me the numbers. One actually tower went down because it was over assessed,
Really?
oddly enough, yes. But not one of them made a peep.
Yeah.
Didn't dent them one bit. So I think next year it will happen again. Where he will assess higher till we get their attention.
No response is not
Nope. Cause it's not hurting them
right.
to not respond.
I think he like doubled it, didn't he?
He didn't, I don't know. I honestly, he showed me the numbers and I don't remember.
So if you look at the two of these combined, if we used, say, 150,050. We're in decent shape there. But then we have other increases down below, which we'll get to later. So,
We're in decent shape. What is that 53.82%?
look at, that's
Is that the change in what?
the amount to be raised by taxes. And that's this year, 414 versus last year, 269. The reason being is this unexpended fund balance last year was 400 and some odd $1,000. So if I use the same amount this year. Right. So it's a combination
Yeah.
of two things. We're not
Mhm.
using the fund balance and our expenditures are for this year are down. So that's why we have what's going on here.
Well, and that fund balance is gonna hurt again next year.
Yeah, we got to get away from doing that. So
Just remember, he showed us a whole sheet and I thought we were, I gotta pull my budget file from last year, because I don't think that was.
this is the.
Don't worry about it. Don't wanna spend time on it now, but it was a little surprising to hear this.
Yeah.
But he told me this earlier in the day.
All right, so what do we move on to now? Highway?
Yeah. The lighting districts, which. Or not the special districts.
Start with the revenue, 'cause that's where I am, so if you. Move through the budget a little bit,
PB8.
TBA, yeah. TBA.
Yes.
This is simple stuff, we'll fly through it. The services of the government, that's the plowing for the county, contract calls for 3% increase, so it's current year 3%. Yeah, 103%. Fuel reimbursements, BR wanted this up a little bit. No, I'm sorry, this is equal to 2023 budget, $3,000. This is the fuel reimbursements from the fire departments. That might be a little, I think we're okay there. Interest, I did the same methodology as before, projected times 75%. Sale of equipment, this is what he came up with. He's got a few things that are probably gonna get sold next year. He rambled them off and listed some numbers. This was 4 hours ago, so. I think it's okay. Chips, this is from the state website, 288.8 for the year, comprised of that. Chips, the winter relief, pave New York and pave our potholes. This is tentative, I just threw that in there. So total revenue minus property taxes is gonna be 540-ish, $542,000.
Significant over last year.
Well, last year includes property tax. This year?
Hmm?
Is that what we're talking about? This,
No, I mean, I'm looking at the total for revenues coming in without property tax. Last year was 400,588, unless I'm looking at it wrong. Am I looking at it wrong?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
where are you seeing that?
No, I'm on this, I'm on our budget.
Total highway fund revenue,
TV eight,
TVA,
compared to that, that's a significant jump.
Well, it's interest. That's
I
a
know.
pretty big chunk.
And chips went up.
Chips is up big, is
Yeah.
up big. I
Yeah.
mean, 161,
Again?
288.
Oh, that's up a lot.
Yeah. All right, general, so personnel, again, we've discussed 6% across the board for contract.
So go back to TV. guys.
Yeah, sorry.
No, okay, just so then.
So it's 581, 933 was total, 591?
Nope, 541.
541.
$50,000 fund balance, that's just, that's me fooling around. That's not go away. So personnel is 6%. Contractual, he wanted to go up $15,000 there. That's just paving costs, I believe. Oh, no, I take that back. We're up $5,000. What he wanted to do was combine these two line items, the fuel and the contractual, into one line item. It's just easier on them to not break it apart like that. So we combined it and went up $5,000. No, I'm sorry, we just combined it. We didn't.
He
we
was
didn't increase.
asking me, he said I was the one that wanted to
Yeah.
separate it out and I can't remember. Do you guys remember why we separated out the fuel in each category of the highway budget last year? I looked through my notes and I don't have a note on that, and I can't remember why we did it. But I guess BR says I did it. It was my suggestion, and it's, anybody remember? Well, you were,
I won't, yeah,
No.
so I'm not into it.
I can't remember.
You know, fuels,
I mean, would we? Did we separate out for plowing versus some others? And I don't know why we would have though, but it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't really matter
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, so.
He just said, yeah, we're pretty light right now, but there's gonna be some pretty chunky invoices coming in the next couple months, so we'll, we're gonna use that up.
You mean that we haven't spent a lot?
Correct, through 8/31. This DA 5112 capital improvements, that's chips, so it's equal to the chips revenue.
oh, okay.
In terms of equipment, this year he has only budgeted, not only, but he has budgeted $215,000 for the plow equipment to go along with the truck cab and chassis that we are purchasing this year. So another $215,000 for that.
115?
Yeah, and that number might change a little bit. He's got to get some paperwork on that.
Is that all that is? Is that just that?
That's it.
That's on,
So that's like. Over 400, right? This is just.
Right, and he said that last year, the understanding was would budget for half this year and half last year.
I think he's right. I do remember that.
Oh, that was for the truck and chassis thing.
Yep.
All right.
He was good with machinery contractual, that's, the repairs and maintenance on the machinery, being the same as last year. $95,000. Personnel, again, we're up 6% per contract. Contractual, here we are, what are we doing? Same as last year, keeping it the same, 15,048 for contractual for snow removal. The snow removal, other government services, this is, or other government, sorry, this is the fees associated with the county plowing. So this 166, 133 is equal to the revenue that we're bringing in from the county. So the way we got to that number is we increased the salaries again, 6% per contract, kept the fuel the same, and this contractual is just a plug to get to the total revenue. Okay,
So that's money in, money out,
Correct.
that line,
Yep.
when we do the county plowing, okay.
Employee retirement, that's the total invoice for 58,409 minus the amount allocated to the general. So 28,609. It's up quite a bit this year.
Yeah.
FICA, again, same methodologies as before, total salaries times 7.65% rate, rounded up. Disability is whatever, it's the same. Health insurance, I did go up, about $4,500 just to be on the safe side.
4,500? Oh, yeah,
Yep.
okay, because I'm looking at the
The
23.
Teamsters contract calls for a pretty small increase. I think it's only 1 to 2% across the board. But I just want to leave a little bit of a cushion there, not knowing, comings and goings, things of that nature.
Mhm.
So. That's that. That's highway.
Okay.
This fund balance. I'm not so sure about. We have 560,000 to start the year. Revenue to date is 1.65 million. Expenditures to date 868 million. That's our balance currently. We're gonna bring in $289,000 for chips. We are $1.4 million between now and the end of the year. So, but that's exactly equal to last year. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if that's good or not, but projected to end the year with a fund balance of $238,000. So we have a little bit of wiggle room there.
That 1.4 includes the delivery
Yes.
of the sweeper and the cab and chassis. So if those two things get delivered, that's a good chunk of that money.
Yeah.
But then we also gotta take in salt and,
Right, which is built into the 1.4.
yeah, okay.
I gotta imagine this is a pretty hefty number. Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be a little high. I mean, $1.4 million going out the door.
In
Yeah,
the next-
$400,000 is equipment, but that's another $1 million.
in the next
and-
3 months.
No, 4, because this is through 8/31. It doesn't factor
Oh,
in that.
okay.
So. We have a little bit of wiggle room.
Are you gonna, when you give us these, or when we get, it, is it gonna have that little box on the side too, where
I
we
give
can
it
look
to
at?
you, just fine.
Yeah, I would like to be able to compare. I like to compare.
So that's where we are with highway. We can determine what we're gonna do for appropriate fund balance later. Keep going,
We're almost done, right?
Yeah.
Don't we just have special districts?
special districts, here we are. So this
Do
is
you guys
something.
want, what was that? I'm sorry, I shouldn't. Keep going. It's like being at the dentist, just finish.
I mean, this is gonna go fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I gotta clean up
You need a
the.
monster bill? Well, I'll get you one. It's had a monster before.
Oh, it'll get you jacked up. I do have to clean up the lighting districts, like I said before, but I don't think we need to do anything with. I think we can leave it exactly as is. We have money. In fund balance to keep it exactly the same, $300 here for Pompey and $200 for Delphi Falls.
Okay.
If anything, this might be a little high, so I can take a look and we can reconvene.
Each of these has like a little account, where there's more money than just what you're thinking you're gonna expend this year and what you're gonna charge into the district. So when we went through these, and I cannot find the place where I put all the little notes, we went through those and some of those fund balances were significant.
Yeah, at least in my mind. Well, that's the lighting districts. We can revisit later if you want, or we can leave it as is, I don't think.
So there's some place where we need to move money from the general fund lighting
Yeah,
to here, to where there's no
right.
numbers,
So
right? Yeah, try and find it after 3 hours
I
of
know,
this.
that is easy. Lighting right there. So of this $8,065, some of that needs to get moved to the special districts.
But then we also need to budget it for,
Then wouldn't that bring down the 9,300? If we're taking money out of there?
9,200 is what we had budgeted for 23, and we left it the same.
for the moment. We don't, if we,
And
once you.
it should be a little conservative, because we don't know what, the electric rates are gonna be like next year, so we should leave a cushion in there.
Oh, I got my new electric my meter put in, so it's supposed to save me.
All this will stay.
I have no idea. I was
Save you
gone and I
watching
come
your
home and
meter,
there's a
you know,
note on
turning your lights off.
thing of. I don't know. They said, tell me they put my new meter in. Like, okay, I don't even know where it is.
So those are the lighting districts, we can. Go with that later. Manlius Fire
Time
District,
of use,
is that?
What?
the meters are time of use.
They're digital. Get my computer.
You guys have the Manlius Fire contract,
Yes.
as it says what it is,
Sure do.
$11,720.
6% this year?
He has a better understanding of it. He said it's 12%.
Yeah,
I don't understand it though, because I'm looking at the,
I'm using numbers.
yeah. That's what I was doing too, but there's something,
they're using fuzzy.
yeah.
Whatever benefits.
Well, 75 at least percent of their budget comes from, of the village budget for the district, fire district, comes from the town of Manlius and the town of Pompey. So they only put in 25%. I mean, I'm just saying it's proportionate. I get it, but it's so, it's like when you know that you're gonna get 75% of your budget covered by someone else, it's,
And the annuity.
yeah, it's,
That's
and,
why-
and we
that's
have
why-
nothing, we have no say.
That's why I asked the question, why can you just say no? I mean, or.
You can't say no.
Just wanna go to something in Pompey Pines and say you're gonna be served by Pompey, it's just not gonna happen.
With the falling down, it needs to be, there need to be a really significant plan.
And something, but there's no one whatsoever, they can just.
Do what they want.
So I don't know how they're getting to that.
You
I don't know how they're saying that there was no increase in rate.
That's what is odd, and
So-
because he's saying that's not accurate.
This is from last year, right? 2023, their budget was $721,767. You have that someplace, right, Renee?
Yes, I do.
So I'm not wrong.
No, and I think I sent it to you and the board. I think I
Yeah.
sent you last year's. What are you asking me? 721, 816, 39
2%.
is what we were, what we got, that was what our piece of the fire district
Yeah.
was.
And so the rate there, which is, the tax divided by the assessed value. Or the taxable value, I'm sorry, is 2.3. Or $2.33 per thousand. This year, we are going to 811,000,
262.
2.62, right? According to you guys have this on the very top of the package I gave you was the assessment information from Don Weber. Which I don't have mine, but anyway,
Here.
it was,
Yeah, it's not a 12.5% increase,
right,
right?
12.5% increase,
Right.
12.46%, so.
Yeah, right here.
How can they say they're not increasing?
But look at what they sent us. Did you see I can't put my fingers on it. What they sent us, Manlius, does not reflect it reflects a 1 cent decrease.
What they did is they used full market value.
You
So,
got
which is,
increased values.
which increased significantly. We're using equalize and we went from 78% to 70%.
Mhm.
So
Again, it's just not even worth arguing, because there's.
There's nothing we can do.
nobody in that district that you're gonna convince to,
No, but what I don't, I don't understand how what you have there
I got,
compares to this. This is what
I didn't have time to really fiddle with it, but it is what it is.
Nobody in that business.
Even a new fire department wouldn't work to serve them.
You're right.
Anyway.
I mean, that's the,
Well, Bobby Owens put in a $13 million facility.
That's what
Maybe
he
they
said.
could-
That's what I said, but they still wouldn't, they aren't, they're not gonna, the timing from here to there versus, you know,
4 years ago.
Manly is dropping down.
I know. Oh, I know. Oh,
Bigger, twice the size.
I know. I asked, I talked to Ty today because I wanted to know if what their budget process schedule was. And they won't have it done until, mid-October. But they're not including anything relative to this proposed new construction. Although they want to put it to a vote in December, and I just think that's really soon. I don't know how you would get it to, put it to a vote in December. They said they're gonna do a mailing. He said they're gonna do a mailing to every, like, property owner in the
Yeah.
district.
That's tough, close follow.
I don't see how, I know.
Delphi Falls Fire, they did send back their thing, I believe, that's in here
They didn't,
someplace.
No increase.
yeah, and is that accurate that they, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I hammered on last year. So.
She is the treasurer. Thank her, James.
That's my style, okay.
I know.
Delphi Falls ambulance, we don't have that back yet, I just tentatively threw in 19 grand just for fun.
Okay.
And Pompey Hills Fire, we don't have that back yet.
No. Not that I know of. No, because I don't think they haven't passed the budget yet. I think it's coming up for,
We did something,
what did we say?
exactly the same.
I talked to Ty today. He said do 2% increase.
What the hell is that?
I know, this is from Scott Mawson. They need to get on the same page.
Uh,
So I don't know what,
So do you want to follow up with them?
I'm gonna call Scott. I didn't see that.
What did I do here? I put a different number in. No, I did, that's right.
Is that what they did?
Is that the 2%? Is
They said they were gonna do 2%.
All right, so that's,
that what you did?
Oh, you maybe
that might be
did that.
right.
Oh, maybe that is what it was. You sent in 2%. It was an increase.
Oops, I screwed that up.
Just. If we're paying them, I don't understand what we say.
You see, Ty said they're only going up 2%, so he said you can put that in.
He's the only ones that can vote.
Oh, 2%. Okay.
My sister.
So that's a 572. 572. Okay.
Sick.
So,
So that's fire and ambulance. That's it.
all right.
So
So how do we get the final, like, number? Like, see all the way at the right there says tax rate?
yeah.
And I know there's a,
Well,
You
it
have to-
depends. We have to, water and drainage are pretty much the same as last year. I didn't really do anything.
but didn't we do some numbers on that with BR?
Yeah, whatever he
That's-
said,
And that's included.
Yep. So what we have to do is figure out how much of fund balance we want to use, because that's going to drive how much we have to raise in taxes.
How far are we currently? From the last year or this year?
So we're under for highway.
It's so funny, usually they're over and we've been
Yeah,
under.
well, he went crazy with equipment last year.
Yeah.
And then we're over by 295 general.
So it's over $250,000.
160,000.
Wow.
That's a percentage.
So let's do this. Oops.
Or is it one that something? So you definitely can.
You just-
Over is what we're short. 160,000, you're talking less than 2%, right? What's that or something like that?
So if we used $100,000 towards general and $50,000 towards highway. That's a net increase of $6,093 in tax. Going to those two funds. Obviously, family's fire is up $90,000.
That's gonna put us right over the tax cap. I shouldn't say that. That's not very nice for me. I just swore. I told you.
I would love to see the paperwork of how they're spending this money.
Yeah.
Because if they're just holding some of it,
I was at the April budget hearing.
Fire department.
Or process in Village of Manlius. And I know that, and I spoke to the fire chief, and I know that their issue at the time was that although their overall, their mutual aid calls are down because Chittenango has figured out, is working with
Last
Madison
year was
County.
mutual aid, right?
And what?
Last year it was mutual aid.
Yeah,
So they're saying this year.
Well, no, now they're saying their calls are up, even though they're not doing as much mutual aid
but
because.
how does that impact cost? Because you can have 3 calls in a day and you still got the same people that you're already paying on. How is the cost increasing because the calls increased? Might put a little more mileage on a vehicle or some supplies, but you're already paying the personnel to
Well,
be there unless they're bringing more people.
They want 4 new positions, and I don't know if the village gave it to them. They wanted that last year.
There you go.
They wanted it last year and the village said no. Which is, I mean, originally that was that 21% increase, and then it was down to 14% last year. And then, but I think they got their positions this year. I think it's very hard to get information, like to figure it out. So, I don't know if they got those positions, and so those 4 positions with all the health benefits and the, payroll and everything that goes along with it, cha-ching, yeah. In our part, we went up 90,000?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like they're going away from a volunteer base and going all paid.
All right, so Jim, so what type of percentages are we?
Yes. 11.59 is not correct. Oh, that's right. So we're looking at general and highway combined tax rate of 2.88%, which is we were at 2.59 last year.
what? We're going up how much?
29 cents. Makes sense.
I thought you said our overall, unless I'm like not getting it. That we had a 6,000 something dollar increase in our budget. When you went back, when we were looking at those.
Shortfall.
Okay, but that translates. Yeah, when you did the 194 and then minus 188, we were 6.
Oh, we almost.
I don't know, I was just like, why would that go up so much, the tax rate, if we were only $6,000? But that wasn't, oh. Anybody want me to go turn that light back on, it just went off.
That's not bother me.
2.59, 2.59.
It didn't change?
Just went down.
It's marginal because it only went down $6,000.
Okay, I feel better now.
So that's if we use
100,000
$150,000 of fund balance,
out of a possible 3,
300 and 238,
so 500, so that would leave us with 350,000.
just for fun. Let's see what happens if we bring this down. What does that do?
All right,
Slightly, 8 cents.
so is it 8 cents is it over the tax cap? Of course it is, because we have such a low tax rate.
It's all 2%, because 2% so is the tax cap. Right?
2%.
So,
I can't figure out the exact calculation of the tax cap until I get access to that
I know, and I
Because there's some
don't.
factors involved there beyond just 2%, there's growth and some other things, so. But the prudent thing to do here, I mean, I know we don't want to go over 2%, but. We can't be reliant on this,
Right.
you know, if anything, we want to say zero, you know, like that. You gotta have some kind of fund balance in there, the rainy day fund, so to speak, and to keep whittling away at that, I mean, we're gonna exhaust that in pretty short order,
And in a year when inflation has been at what,
5-6%.
and as high as like 8?
So if you-
We're raising, if we did the 8%, it would be a 3% rate increase.
So. I don't know, I mean, maybe sleep on it, but
so if you did.
Well, we
50
can't really
each-
sleep on it because we have to get something to
Yeah, so
submit it by
50
Saturday,
each.
right? I mean,
What you just did there, that leaves us with 4. Ish,
what?
450 left,
oh, in fund balance,
yeah.
250 for general and.
188, so
188.
453. No, 434, 438, what am I doing? 438, so
Does that make you feel more comfortable when you, that them numbers, or that's?
Yeah.
what if you added
It makes
like,
more sense than the last one you had in there.
just play with it for a minute and put in 80,000. See what that does to the tax rate. What does it do? I can't read that. It's up 3%,
2.62, that's up 3 cents.
so
0.55.
that would leave 400,000 in unallocated fund.
Yep.
So what about that?
I mean, I think that makes sense to me. I mean, this is.
The problem in the town is that people have come to expect that despite all of their expenses going up, that the town is going to be able to hold expenses to the same. all
I've
the
hit
time. And
500,000
it's just
so far. Only one
unrealistic.
person has said they don't complain about their town taxes.
What?
I've hit 500 houses so far. So far, one has only said that we do a great job with the town taxes.
That, and that is an unrealistic
That is.
expectation. It's just unrealistic to think that you can hold this. I mean, everybody's expenses go up, including the towns.
I mean, the inflation is. Insane, so I mean, in my opinion, if you can.
I mean, if we
You can
could do
hold-
that.
if you can
would
hold it
be
to-
upset?
If you can hold it to, if you're in the. Under 3%, I mean, I don't think you've done too bad.
No, me
Better than
neither.
Inflation rate.
That's why I was compared to like the cost of everything. So I'm just curious, Mr. Finance Man over there. You have a thought?
I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I mean,
Yeah, no good deed. I mean,
don't say that to me.
you know, it. In 400,000 versus 250 or. It's nice to have that buffer, right? It's nice to have the additional cash.
But this keeps us under the
I mean-
tax cap and it's a small.
If there was ever a time to sort of, you know, push a little bit, it's the inflationary environment.
No, because-
right now.
With the tax cap is 2% and it would be a change of 1.55, right?
As far as income.
Am I reading it wrong?
That we might not be getting in.
I don't know.
So how did we have a 2% chance?
Yeah, we're gonna be over it,
Actually,
right? I mean, we're looking at.
interest revenues.
I'm gonna be over anyway, because we gotta,
2% percentage change is 1.55. Now, where's,
that's for general and highway, we're still, you know.
oh, we still have to get. But I'm
We
just
haven't put
saying
any
the
of
town has done its
Correct. Down is.
due diligence in keeping.
Oh, okay. So
Down. We can't control the fire districts and the fire departments
Oh.
changes, so we still have to
We're
do.
doing better.
We're not over the tax cap, but the fire district.
Some of the water districts I had to, you know, they might have had 0
Oh,
or
right.
like a nominal amount for property taxes. I had to, in some instances, double it or go higher because we relied on fund balance and there is no fund balance, so.
I know these two things are unrelated, but if we do something where we try to maintain a $400,000 balance.
and we keep more money in ARPA, there's this tendency for people to accuse us of just having all this money. and-
I know, and I know,
I know they're not related, but there's
I
a
hear you.
tendency, and so if we are shooting at that fund balance for maintaining a certain level. We should get the ARPA money spent, you know, it's.
Well, that's something Renee's been wanting to do.
I want to do it. I've got,
We
I mean, I
got,
put.
what, half of it allocated, right?
I mean, some of it's gonna have to be probably decided by the next administration and they'll have a year to figure it out, but they're not gonna have
We're
it.
still pulling an interest from that. And
I know, but
then,
that's what I'm saying, but that's where we're getting accused of,
Right.
just I've heard comments that we're. Sitting on that, which again, that's a good thing, I don't know why people find.
yeah, I mean, I would,
It's helped
do.
immensely.
They do.
I know, you know, I get that, but I also think, you know, with the interest rates up, we're actually making money.
Well,
on
let me
it.
tell you something. Having sat through the luncheon last week with the other town supervisors, the ones that have already spent their ARPA money are hurting with their budgets this year
Yeah.
because they didn't get the interest.
Well,
The ones that have like still money to spend with ARPA have really like made out with interest. So the people that think that we're sitting on the money, we didn't intend to wait this, to do this, but it's just fortuitous because we're making,
I think we're making better.
This is right up there with the tip of the yield curve.
I think
mean,
we're
I'm
making-
making-
they're right
I think
up
we're
there.
making good
yeah.
prudent decisions with it, not just blowing it. I mean, I think
Right.
you see some of these places that are just blowing it off on, the comments I hear are.
Pickleball courts.
Or people are like, oh, they blew, you know, oh, they had a whole bunch of money they blew through and people are not
I
appreciating
know,
it.
you know what, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't.
Now, I mean, to Bill's point though, is now the time to eliminate the reliance on the fund balance. During the inflationary time when everything is going up across the board. Said next year, you know, when we can't use fund balance and we have to raise taxes even more.
It's a split the difference type argument, right? You know what I mean, if you can.
So what are you saying as far as,
You could deplete it by some level, but you know, instead of going to 250, you go to 4, I suppose that's split the difference, right? Essentially.
like 375 or? No,
Well, if you
Like
set,
325.
if you set an ending fund balance at 400,000. Then you are
Which is about there.
gently
That's where it is right
increasing your
there.
tax rate, but. You're doing so at a rate which is far less than the rate of inflation, so
We're,
you could argue
we're
that.
much better than last year,
Right,
you know, that's,
still shows that we're trying to help people keep the taxes down, but we're still. Trying to
But you're also,
keep a little nesting.
and keep infrastructure like.
yeah. I mean, it's what's gonna end up happening is it's gonna get to the point where, you know, they're not too distant future where we're not paying cash for all the new equipment
I know,
and we're gonna
Oh,
have to
yeah.
finance, you
yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Yeah,
All right,
so the problem I see, well, first, it's not a problem, but logistically, we need to get a preliminary budget to file with the clerk by Saturday.
I mean,
Isn't that what we
can
got?
get back into 400,000. You know what I mean, so.
we're there right now.
That is where we
Yeah.
are.
That's where we are right
Yeah,
now. 220 in the one fund and 180.
yeah,
That was the.
And it's pretty evenly,
we're talking 400 for the general fund,
No,
just in total.
in total,
Yeah, we're there.
yeah, exactly.
All right.
that's why I said try 80,000, because
Yeah,
I'm
that's where
thinking,
that-
oh,
yeah.
it backs it down.
that's where that 80 came from.
Yeah,
So we need we need a preliminary budget to the county by Saturday,
no, to Nikki.
to Nikki by Saturday.
Yeah, we need to file it with the town clerk
Okay,
by September 30th, which happens to be a Saturday,
that's fine.
but we need to approve it. That's what I'm saying. We need a preliminary budget, so I'm not sure, we don't have it. We have it in concept, but we don't have it
Physically,
physically. So.
So in other words, Jim needs to put it together, have it to us physically, and then we need to vote, is that what you're saying?
Mhm. And we probably need to meet. I don't know how we do
What
that.
about the line items? You said you needed more information. I don't remember what those line items are now, but.
Really? Can't imagine
Those
why.
get adjusted between the preliminary and the final budget, right?
Pardon me?
Those need more information lines get adjusted between now and the final budget.
The preliminary, no, between the tentative and the preliminary, but then, once the preliminary budget is set.
This is the, what are we doing now? The
And that
tentative?
goes to public hearing.
It goes to public hearing, but we can't play with the,
Any
salaries.
Salaries.
and we can't do anything with any of the budget items until after the public hearing. But we do have the opportunity to adjust
Okay.
after the public hearing, but we can't, once it goes to preliminary, you can't.
So with everything we did
It's there.
tonight, is it close enough to print and do that or?
Yeah, can we, is there a reason we couldn't
No?
do that and say this is our tentative, you know,
Is it,
our tentative, this is our tentative, right? Isn't that what we're
no,
doing?
but what we need
It
is,
needs a preliminary done.
The tentative is the budget requests, which we already have.
Okay, so the preliminary is the next.
We need it. however, and this is Tom Chartran format, but I mean, we need it.
I can get to you Friday. I mean, it's gonna take me some time to,
Yeah,
I got a meeting tomorrow in the afternoon.
but how, we would need to vote to move it forward. Which means of, like, I don't know if people are even available to do that.
I know.
Friday?
I'm just walking the street, so.
Is this, I mean, is it normally this tight? Time wise?
Usually. When we're done with this process, where is that? Do you have that? Schedule?
The calendar? I think I left it in my office.
All right.
I thought we were doing it in October. Changed it. We were doing it in October.
Well.
This week. Again.
Budget officer files the tentative budget with the town clerk no later than September 30th.
The tentative,
That's it. Tentative.
not the preliminary.
The town clerk presents the tentative budget to the town board on or before October 5th.
We got,
So
When
it's
does a preliminary have to be in?
tentative is.
yeah, so one's preliminary.
The town board makes revisions, and prepares a preliminary budget filed with the town clerk prior to public hearing. That's all it says.
So wait, so all we have to do,
Is
You-
the tentative.
if we're happy with the tentative,
Which is this.
okay, you see that?
Can we make a motion
All
to
right, just, no, I'm able.
accept the tentative? Yeah, yeah. Can we do the, as far as the tentative, that can be done right now, can it?
Right,
So we can have that done, and then there's, we can, at the meeting, we can schedule a public hearing on it. Right? Or can you have the public hearing on at the meeting?
no,
That'd be a separate one.
that's the missing step. Without, is that, the tentative, we have an opportunity still to tweak the tentative once we file it. Because once it gets filed with the clerk, then comes back to us, then we have the opportunity, probably at our October 12th.
So can we make a
Whatever day.
motion right now to accept this as our tentative?
Yes.
budget?
I make that motion.
I think you're
James
just-
makes it.
I'll make a second. I don't care.
Okay, so.
This thing done.
What I'm gonna do is take this and it goes into Williamson and it'll generate a nice neat tentative budget.
Okay,
Uh,
and then,
with supplementary schedules that'll prepare outside of
That'll
that.
be submitted to Nikki.
Correct.
it goes to Nikki by Saturday.
Yeah.
We have to vote yet, so, and then,
I guess we're in the discussion phase. We're not the only-
when this says she presents the tentative budget to the town board, what does that mean? We have to be in a session, or she can just email it to us? What?
Favor.
You waiting for me? Okay, wait.
So I think we're a little slightly backwards / ahead of ourselves. So step 3 is the budget officer files a tentative budget with the town clerk. Basically be you taking all the department head requests and giving it to her. She would then give it to the town board to work through workshop. And
The budget officer is you.
is that me?
It's you, not me. It would be me if I hadn't,
But
we
what's
didn't have you,
interesting,
but if
hold on a
because.
second, hold on a second. I can't be the budget officer. You are the budget officer.
Thanks, yeah.
There's some.
Why? Because you're not a town employee? Okay, that's news to me, but that's because it's new to me, because Tom was always a town employee, so.
Oh.
I never had the responsibility of compiling the budget and presenting it to the town clerk, so if that's the way we have to do it, then let's just get it done and we'll do it.
So I'll get you the tentative budget.
Yeah,
prepared.
and I'll get it to Nikki and then
And then from there, we'll take the changes we made tonight, incorporate those, and that'll
we
be
can do
the,
when we tweak.
that'll be the tweak before
tentative.
for the preliminary.
For the preliminary. So, any other discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion to move the, this to make it our tentative budget pass. Okay, so. Do we need to do anything else before I let somebody make a motion to adjourn? Because they're all about, well, you look like you're asleep in your chair.
I was.
You're not sleeping.
Can we make a motion to adjourn? Jen, are you good?
We'll let Bill make that.
Okay,
motion.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Oh, sorry, that's your job.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Good night to all.
I think we're getting tired.